Hello everyone, this is Moni Castaneda doing my conversations with friends that I want to introduce to you because I really appreciate their work and their contribution to the world. And today my very special guest is Bill Austin. Hey Bill.
Hey Moni, how's it going?
It's going great. Bill and I have known each other for about 13 years, and I always know exactly the number because we met when my first child was a baby. And the way that happened is that I had made a search on the internet, and I'm going to show you here Bill's blog, which is Healwith Bill. So this is Bill's blog, and the address is healwithbill.com. And I want to point out to you, so you don't miss it, that at the top right corner where it says please join us, you can enter your name and your email address, and Bill will add you to an email list where you get a free distance healing every first Wednesday of the month. And this is how I actually met Bill. Was doing a search for distance healing on the internet. A friend had just introduced me to the idea, and I was still a little bit resistant. It sounded strange to me that you could heal a person at a distance. So I was entered the search on the internet for spiritual distance healing, and Bill Austin's website was the first to pop up, and it was a different website back then. And the thing that called my attention, or one of the things that called the most my attention, was that Bill had a list of healing services that he offered, and to the left of the service there was a click box. It's just like when you're adding products to a cart in any marketing, in any retail website. So I was impressed by this idea of the retail of spirituality or spiritual services, healing services, as a retail service. And that's one of the things that caught my attention the most, was that here was a person who was not afraid to market spiritual services. And that's the first question that I would like to ask you today, Bill,
Okay.
is regarding that, because I know you and I have talked about this a lot, that whenever that there's two things that a lot of healers and light workers struggle with, and one of them is taking proper care of their bodies. Like I've met people who are amazing Reiki healers, and they did wonderful healings for other person, but their health suffered tremendously. And the other thing is money, right? So tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I think that's really the two big challenges. Most healers I know, we're so concerned about helping other people and serving other people that we sometimes let ourselves slide. And energy healing is sort of an interesting thing, is that the people that we work with often have very similar energetic life challenges that we have. And sometimes we can pick up things from other people that we work with on the phone or in group healing sessions. But in general, I found that healers we often put out all this energy to help other people, and we're not terribly good about receiving in general. And that goes to both the money side and the healing side. We're putting out all this energy of love and healing and help. But then we're not always open to receive healing ourselves or support or all these other things. And it's, that's, one of the things I really focused on a lot. And I think the money thing is really important for healers and people who are trying to get their world service work out, because I think we all know of incredibly gifted healers who have not been able to get their work out into the world because they haven't earned enough money to build websites and to promote themselves. And I think it's a real shame, because some of the most gifted healers I've worked with on the planet are not widely known because they have a lot of issues around money. And a lot of people buy into this belief that money isn't spiritual, or money's for everyone else but not for me, or we all have these challenges and a lot of these challenges are around self-love and self-worth and self-esteem.
I feel that in addition to money issues, like a lot of healers and light workers and people in the helping professions, that they actually have issues with marketing, that they believe that marketing is evil, or that it's not congruent with healing work.
Okay, going back to the point you're making, Money, about marketing, to me, Well, there are two types of marketing. There's hard marketing. I think when we think of marketing, we think of hard sales marketing. And hard sales marketing is you're calling people, doing cold calls, trying to connect with people you don't have a relationship with and trying to promote your work. And then there's soft marketing. And, I've always been, yes, I've been into marketing, but it's been more the soft marketing approach in that, to me, marketing is communication. And I like to energy healing is way out there. It's not as way out there years ago as when you began connecting with me, but a lot of people have a lot of qualms about energy healing. And a lot of what I've been trying to do is really demystify it. My first experience with energy healers years ago was I read about this group on an Australia Ascension network. And they're talking about how wonderful they had these spiritual healers were wonderful and they had great things. And I contacted the spiritual healers and they basically said, oh yeah, send me $100 in cash to our P.O. box and we'll do the work for you.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, this is sort of crazy, but they got really good reviews, so I went ahead and I got $100 out of the bank, put it in an envelope, mailed it to them. And then about 3 weeks later, I felt this really surge of really good energy and I felt really good. And then I got an email later that night saying they'd done the work. And, so it really turned me into a believer that, and actually my first energy healing class I took was with these people. But I remember thinking at the time, it's really a crazy way of doing business of sending people $100 in cash to a P.O. box. And, it was a nutso way of doing business. So,
so your first experience with this, actually the first experience you had with energy healing was a person who was not afraid to ask for the money first, to get prepaid before doing the service. And then, because I can see from what I have seen, the way you work is like that. The person doesn't have to do anything while you're doing a healing on them. They just send you an email and sometimes you answer and you ask for details, more details, because you feel the person hasn't moved all the things they needed to move before they get the clearing, and then you just send them an email, right? And I know because we've been interacting with each other for 13 years, and we have exchanged a lot of work, and I have gotten so much service from you. And at some point during the first year that you were doing work for us, my husband and I, we were trying to talk about the things that we were feeling. And one of the things that we were feeling was that all of a sudden becoming happier, or being happier, became easier, because when we were happy, we were having a good life and we were happy with each other, and we just had our first baby, but sometimes we felt like we had to work to be happy. And one of the first things that we felt from doing this work with you, this long distance healing, was like a heavy cloak, like those protections, those leaded protections they give you at the dentist to take x-rays. It was like something like that had gotten lifted, where all of a sudden we didn't have to struggle or work hard to be happy, where happy became more natural. So that was a very important thing that happened for us, was that. And also, for me, was that I always thought I took really good care of myself because we ate well and we exercised. I didn't exercise back then as much as I do today, but we had a healthy lifestyle. And one of the first things that came up for me is that I was not taking proper care of my body. And I think most of that was that I was not in my body. That because I wanted to have these spiritual experiences, that all of a sudden I didn't want to be having to deal with the body, having to be connected with the body.
I want to raise one of the points that you talked about is that you're not in your body. And, a lot of healers are very highly evolved souls, very spiritual people, very mentally oriented sometimes. A lot of healing modalities are very mentally oriented, but a lot of spiritual people don't like their body. And if you don't like your body, you don't tend to hang out in your body. Yeah. And it goes back to what we were talking earlier about healers not taking care of themselves. One of the reasons why a lot of healers don't take care of themselves is we're more comfortable in the spiritual realms than we are in the physical realms. And It's impossible to heal your life. It's impossible to attract more money. It's impossible to be as happy if you're not really grounded in your body in the physical plane. And the other part of this, of course, is grounding the love that you truly are, your soul, into the physical plane. And that's why we're really here on Earth, really, is to ground our essence, our love, our joy, our completeness into our physical body and vessel, and then radiate that out to other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and for me, it was the realization that, and even right now as we're talking, I'm getting more levels of that. And
Mm-hmm.
part of that was that I was taught to not like my body when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And this came from the family environment where I was growing up, and where was I was taught to not like the way I looked, and so that somehow translated in not wanting to be in my body, where you don't want to be in a bad vehicle or in an
Mm-hmm.
ugly vehicle. So there's a lot of issues like that have come up with me over the years, but that I was very surprised because I thought I was taking great care of my body, and I actually wasn't even fully in my body half the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so the one thing I wanted to ask you and share with my viewers, my audience today, is also about something that you don't usually advertise very much. And while I do that, if you don't mind, if it's okay with you, I would like to share an image, one of the healing images that you have created. This is for
Okay.
the Magical Zapper tool. Can you see it?
Okay. Yes, I can.
Yeah, and so just so
I
our
can see part of
viewers.
it. I don't think I see the whole thing.
Yeah, I was enlarging it to fill up the screen,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just thought it might be nice for people that they can look at a clearing image while we talk about these things.
Yes, that's great because a lot of stuff will come up to the surface as
Yes,
people listen to this. I set the intent before we begin it to that that as you're speaking, there will be healing energies transmitted that's aligned with the highest good of all and supports spiritual evolution of each being 100% with ease and grace.
that is awesome. Thank you for that. And so, over the years, I used to have a graphic design business, and I did a lot of work for Bill. And because I was doing all the graphics for all the things that you were adding to your website and all the programs you did, I had firsthand knowledge of everything that was coming and everything that you were adding. And there were certain times when you added things that I thought were magnificent, and then later on you took the focus away from those, and you just included them in larger healing packages. So, for example, at some point, I was working with a lady, a client of mine who was a healer, and she was having a terrible time because she didn't know how to protect herself, how to separate her issues from the issues of clients. So when she went to work with a client, she would completely blend her energy field with the energy field of clients, and then she would be completely drained. So I had asked Bill to do a healer support program of recordings, of MP3 recordings, and they included clearing yourself before a healing session, clearing yourself after a healing session, increasing your intuition capability. There were 7 of those, and Bill had done them at my request, and then this woman I was working with, she bought them, and she had an amazing experience with them. And then Bill incorporated this package into other healing packages. Like, what healing package would have that, Bill?
Well, my energy healing programs include that now. When I began teaching energy healing, I really focused on just the modality, and then I realized that, like, to go out and heal authentically using these techniques, you have to do a lot of clearing work, and a lot of people who are drawn to my work are maybe this might be the first and only thing they do with healing, so they didn't have a lot of training and boundaries and how to clear stuff that came up. So I wanted to provide some additional support to people who are drawn to the modalities I teach.
Yeah, and I think boundaries are huge, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and that's like a lot of people who are in the helping professions. I see that they have a hard time establishing boundaries. But that was one of the things that I thought were fantastic, and I still use. I still use those recordings for myself.
Mhm.
But you never promoted them again, and I thought they should be promoted as as an individual package. And another thing was something that you did for me that was very special for me, was the karma amelioration um, healing. And so, can you tell us a little bit about the karma, what the karma amelioration does?
Well, I mean, it's an aspect of my work, Moni. As you know, I work with a broad bandwidth of things. I brought in hundreds of healing sessions, tons of modalities, tons of healing products, tons of healing books, many of
Yes.
which we did together. So,
Yes.
to me, marketing, it's what I find is that a lot of times people are drawn to different things. And sometimes some of the things I do, only one person is drawn to. Some things I do, lots of people are drawn to. And it's sort of hard for me to discern, what really will appeal to people. And
Uh-huh.
it's sort of like I have all this stuff out there, and that's my real challenge with marketing. It's really easy to market when you just have one or two things you do. When you have hundreds, literally hundreds
I
of
know. You
things,
probably have thousands.
I very well might have thousands of things, and it's just very difficult. I tried on the website to narrow down the focus from my previous website to the things I think most important, but as I grow and evolve, I always bring in new stuff. But
Yeah.
carbon amelioration, I mean, it's a really important thing because, there are over 5 billion people on the planet. I don't know quite what the number is, but everyone that's ever incarnated pretty much is on the planet now. And so there are all these people that we've had karmic interactions with over many, 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 many decades or centuries. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of karma is coming up. The planet is evolving and humanity is evolving. And one of the prerequisites, so to speak, of growing spiritually is to heal and ameliorate as much karma as you can. And there are a lot of cosmic dispensations and grace to help people to heal and ameliorate karma.
Yeah.
Um,
And I know
One of the
there's
reasons, to be honest, I don't promote it a little bit more is I find like if you're people who are involved in intimate relationships, a lot of that's karmically oriented, and some people who have healed and ameliorate karma, it's sort of affected their relationship with their partners. So
yeah.
so
So
it's a
tell me
tricky thing.
about the disclaimer, because I know when at some point the first time you suggested a karma amelioration clearing, you told me there was a disclaimer, a huge disclaimer for this, right?
Yes, I'm always very careful about karma healing and amelioration because a lot of people don't realize to quite an extent, like probably almost every important person in your life you have karma with at some point or another. Not necessarily from this lifetime, but from past lifetimes or, anyway, it doesn't really matter where it comes from.
Uh-huh.
And, I look at things very differently in that I'm trying to clear things across time, space, dimensions, directions, sectors, and angles, which means I'm going after past lives, parallel lives, genetic stuff. Similar, a lot of times we have karma people that if they evolve and move on, we still have to heal our karma. So we attract
Uh-huh.
people like that into our lives to heal karma with. So, but I try to work on, that's one of the things I do, and it's one of the things I work on myself is healing and ameliorating karma. Our in-laws, I've found over the years, have been massive sources of karma.
That would explain it, right? And I think
Yeah,
that was
well, I mean, I always, this is a relatively new phenomenon for me. I always do have karma with my sexual, intimate partnerships, but I now realize that and I've done a lot of work on clearing in-laws as well because I didn't realize that, like, the people that our relationships, a lot of times their family we have karma with too. So it's
yeah. And actually, I was very glad that you gave me that disclaimer, because one of the things that happened to me, and let me tell a little bit of the story, the background of what had happened. I was working on a particular project with a group of healers. There was just a few healers. And one day we had a falling out because I said something that two of them disagreed with. And they got very adamant about it. But if I had taken a video of what was happening and then show the video to somebody, people would tell me, well, you have thin skin or you're overreacting, it wasn't so bad. But the energy of the people, it was really, really ugly. It got really, really ugly. And there was so much anger. And I started thinking at some point, why does this particular woman have so much anger towards me? And even though, so it wasn't a big falling out in terms of what happened, but energetically it was a big falling out. And since I had already taken all these courses with you to learn to clear myself, back then I believe it was the Universal Clearing Profile, which has been now replaced with the Magical Zapper tool, which is we're looking at the the master image for the healing modality right now. And so I had tried clearing myself for over a week, and it was not lessening. Actually, it seemed to me that every time I cleared myself, I brought up new layers of sorrow. And so I had written you an email about it, and you told me, I think you may need a karma amelioration session. And you were very clear that you can only ameliorate karma on your end because you cannot interfere with the free will of the other person. And I wasn't, and you told me, it may be that after you do this, you may not feel like working with these women anymore. But the pain, the emotional pain I was in was so high that I said, okay, let's go ahead and do it. And so you did the session, and I felt, I felt some energetic shifting as you were doing the session. But then I went to sleep, and I don't remember what I dreamed. But when I woke up, I had full recollection of a previous lifetime. And in the context of that previous lifetime, everything that these people had said to me in this lifetime, everything they did, had a resonance or a parallel in another lifetime. So, for example, one woman had told me, I don't want to hurt you, I don't want to hurt you. And I'm like, why are you telling me that? That you don't want to hurt me? And that seems, it doesn't have any relationship with what we're talking about, or what we're doing. And it turned out that in that lifetime, she had betrayed me, and then I had been captured as a consequence of, and tortured as a consequence of that betrayal. And so, like, all these things started coming together about the relationship I had had in that previous lifetime with each of the women involved in this small group. But also, which was most interesting to me, my original family was there. My parents in this lifetime, my nuclear family in this lifetime, my father and mother were there. And so many things that came to me in my memory, they finally helped me make sense of what had happened in when I was growing up, because as people who have been following me for a long time, I have written newsletters about it. There was a lot of abuse going on in the household, but some of the things that my father said to me, they made sense if you look at them under the light of this new information that I got from this lifetime, and that was very, very long time ago. And so it was such a relief for me, and effectively after we did that karma amelioration session, I didn't feel like I should work with these women anymore. I felt like my side of it was resolved, and their side, they're free to resolve their side in the way that serves their highest good, but it didn't need to include me. Whatever unresolved issues they had, they needed to continue to work on those on their own. But it was such a relief for me, because sometimes when things don't make sense, and then you get more information, they start making sense. So that was really good for me. But I know we have talked about this too, Bill, that you have said that not everybody who thinks they need a karma amelioration session necessarily needs to get it, because the issue they're going through may be resolved with some other type of session. And you do custom sessions, right?
Yes, I do custom sessions. A lot of times healing crises, money crises, all the crises we have, a lot of times it's a form of karma in a way, or effect of karma. In that, like if you have problems relating with your father, money might be might be outwardly about money, but it's really about the relationship. So it's all intertwined, and they're all layers and layers and layers of healing and clearing work. And what you find is, I'm really big on forgiveness, going back and trying to forget anything and everything and clearing as much as I can. But I find that years later, I'm drawn back to the same situation to work on clearing the next level.
Yes, yeah. So, sometimes it feels like you may feel like you're going around in a circle, but you're really going around in a spiral where you are, you're dealing with the same situation at a totally different vibrational level.
Well, one of my exes had an issue of being fired from work after 6 months.
Oh.
And it was really an issue around the father. But he played it out in work environment. So
yeah, and I think I'm seeing a lot of that these days, like in politics. I'm seeing, like on social media, people get so angry, and I know some people, they act, they say certain things, they share certain things because they're really upset at their father, so they have issues with authority, and they perceive the government as the ultimate authority. And that's one of the things that we worked on, that I'm going to start sharing with people about the projects that you and I have worked on together. One of the first projects we worked on together was a book called Feng Shui Cures for the Planet and Money Clearing Manual. And there's the cover. And so it's Feng Shui Cures for the Planet and Money Clearing Manual. And one of the things that we wanted to address was, because we had seen it a lot, both with your clients and my clients, was the heaviness that people feel regarding the environment or governmental institutions, corporations, the things that are being done, the shadow governments, all the things, the manipulation of people who are very wealthy buying candidates. And I think that those kinds of things, they're really coming to the surface in this election year. And I see a lot of unresolved emotions coming, and now social media, it's so transparent to show you how the things that people are struggling with. So one of the things that we had done when we did this book, we thought about, when people think about money and when people think about the planet, where does the anxiety come from? Where does the anxiety come from? So we had considered that a lot of it was going to come from the relationship to the planet as a whole, to the planet as Gaia, as a living being, as a living organism, and the way we relate to the different elements. So we had the way we did this is that Bill created abstract images, and then I added the illustrations and the symbols. And so like all that you see here in the background are paintings that Bill created, and that then they were scanned into a computer, and I put it together in images. So for example, this image of the world has the healing and clearing images for clearing the land and waters, which I think is so important in this day, and the relationship we have to minerals, animals, bugs and microorganisms, plants and flowers, the stages that people go through in life. We had also included healing and clearing images for the circadian rhythm, which I think is super important. And I can really feel, if I'm having trouble going to sleep at a reasonable time, I feel I'm off with the planet, these images are really helpful to me. We had also worked with some information from Feng Shui and traditional Chinese medicine, where we have certain times when certain organs are more vulnerable. So this is really good information to have, for example, to know that if you always get sleepy around between 3 and 4, there may be issues with your bladder. But even more important to that is to be exposed to the healing and clearing images for that. And so we had done the seasons, the phases of the moon, biorhythm, healing and harmonizing brain waves, and things like that. And then came the really, really heavy stuff. Because we had, Bill and I, before we do work together, we meditate a lot, and we try to get ourselves very clear and know what spirit wants from us, and really not work from our egos or work from what we think things should be like, but really receive the information from the heavens. And so we did a series of images to clear fear and other less than low frequencies having to do with phenomena of nature. And like now with climate change and global warming or the rising of the waters, this has become even more relevant. So the way that people can work with these images is by just, they can, we have this also as an ebook, so people who purchase the ebook can print out these images and frame them, or just put them, pin them on their walls. And the more they look at these images, the more spiritual clarity and healing they're going to get. And then, so part of it was the things about nature, but we also work with things having to do with population, food, sustainability, energy, because we saw a lot of the people that we knew had a lot of anxiety regarding these things. And I see, like in a lot of healers and light workers, sometimes they feel impotence when they think about the way the world is, the wars that happen, the people not understanding each other, the way that businesses and corporations may be taking advantage of poor people or devastating the environment. And we wanted to create a product that will help people not become overwhelmed by these things, the influence of logos and marketing on people. And then, we're going to talk about money later on. But before we do that, and And no, this is a little bit extemporaneous, but when we were working on this book, 2012 was approaching, and a lot of people in our circles were terrified. There were some people who were not even making any plans beyond 2012 because they thought that was a waste of time. So I wanted to ask you, Bill, like, how do you see, because some people, they say, but you have to be afraid of certain things because if you're afraid, you will not act. So I need to make all my friends afraid of global warming or afraid of climate change because if they're afraid, then they'll take action and they will do something about it, right? But that's not how the human mind or the human soul works. So what do you have to say about those fears and people thinking that they can use fear to help people out?
Well, as you know, Moni, I'm very, very anti-fear. I mean, I think it's a choice of miracles or whatever. Anyway, A Course in Miracles. They talk about two emotions, love and fear, and it's important to choose each moment love rather than fear. And well, in many ways, I get a certain amount of truth to that. The whole reason I got involved in, one of the main reasons I got involved in this project of working with healing in Feng Shui is I view Feng Shui as the oldest energy healing modality on the planet.
Yeah.
And I also think that there's a lot of fear and superstition energy in Feng Shui.
Definitely there
like
is.
There is in some forms of Reiki and older forms of healing on this planet, I feel have gotten corrupted or tainted by fear and negativity. And I'll go back to A Course in Miracles, choose love, not fear. But I think that's the real core of healing is figuring out fear in all its different permutations and bringing in the love of your soul to replace that. So
the idea is to clear fear, not trying to enhance fear because you think that fear is going to help people, because fear is never going to help.
Well, and it goes back to things like some things came up when you were talking. One is that a lot of marketing is fear-based marketing. So
that's true.
I think a lot of healers confuse fear-based marketing with marketing. To me, marketing is communication, explaining what you do, developing a relationship. I do a lot of free stuff on YouTube, a lot of free stuff, and the idea is to introduce people to energy healing.
Yeah.
So you don't have to send me $100 in cash to PO box. I really want to work with people who have explored some of the stuff I've done for free, so that they can tell if they resonate and benefit from what I do.
And so like,
I guess I do the opposite of what I call fear-based marketing.
Like you're sharing information so people can get an idea of the frequencies. How many videos do you have on YouTube? How many free videos?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I created a whole bunch of them years ago.
It's probably hundreds, right?
Many recently. But I think I had 60 or 70 on YouTube.
Really? I thought it was more.
Well, I mean, you start running out of ideas to pursue. Like, I'm very project oriented. I get fascinated, obsessed about something. I create a lot of things in that area that I'm on, and I rarely go back and revisit. But I would also raise something you're talking about the planet and environment. It's tied to what we're talking about being in your body. Really, Earth is our ultimate body in a lot of ways. And, a lot of healing is getting people back into their bodies, and a lot of healing the planet is getting people, humanity, to recognize that, hey, we're part of the planet, we're not different from the planet. Yes. So I see a lot of the, in some ways, that what's going on with Earth and humanity is very much a macro perspective of what goes on with humanity, individuals in their body. And then, of course, you get down to the cellular level and the quantum parts and particle levels, too. And, it's all, life is a hologram. So I named my business Healing Holograms years ago.
Yes. Yeah, one of the things that I want to point out, and I'm going to share my screen here so people can see, is that part of the reason I think that you and I connected, and I know in the beginning when I told you that I practice Feng Shui, you were not very excited about it because your experience had been of going to Feng Shui stores and looking at things that were so laden with fear and superstition. And the thing that we agreed on is that we both wanted to take the superstition out of Feng Shui and to take the fear out of Feng Shui. And so one of the things we did is this project that is called the Feng Shui Cures for the Life Areas book. This you can also get as a physical book, as a paperback, or as a ebook that you can print out the cures. And so we had done cures for We have for each life area, we have an image, like a waterfall for career, but we also have an abstract image for that. So in each of these, that is the image for the one image for relationships and the second image for relationships, because we know some people like to see figures, and that's health and family, and some people would rather have an abstract image. That's the image for wealth, and that's the abstract. So we had worked on all these projects. We also did Feng Shui cures for the 5 elements and a book called Feng Shui cures for astrology.
Moni, I just want to bring up one point about Feng Shui while we're talking about it. One of the reasons I worked on the Feng Shui project is, in a lot of ways, our homes and where we live reflect our energetic beingness, our health and well-being. If you have an energetic weakness, you're probably going to choose a house or a home that has the same energetic weakness. And there's this interesting feedback loop between the human body and the house you dwell in that the energy of your home reflects what's going on with the energy of everyone who resides within the home. So if you can upgrade the energy of your home, in a way it's a backdoor way of bringing in more healing into your body. Because as your home gets healthier and healthier, your body gets healthier and healthier because it's synced up energetically. And we've all read stories about, like people know within 5 minutes if they buy a house, and, if they're going to buy a house or not. You look at a house, and most people know within 5 seconds. It may take them a day or two for the mental body to convince the personality self that it really wants that house, but the soul pretty much chooses the house within 5 seconds, or 30 seconds, or, a minute or less. But the reason is, as soon as we're exposed to something energetically, we perceive what's going on with it. And if it matches the energy inside ourselves, then we end up in that house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you and I have talked about that. And because sometimes I tell people they chose a home because the home mirrors their energetic weaknesses. And then all of a sudden they think, I'm such a terrible person to have done this to myself. And I tell them, no, you're such a sensitive, intuitive person to have done that. Because basically you have chosen a home that would make it impossible for you to keep hiding from these issues that you are here to resolve. And so it's the desire of the person to heal that leads them to choose a home. And there's there's that symbiotic interaction, and you and I have talked about this a lot, about how what we want to do is with our images, with our work together, is to help people establish a positive feedback loop, right?
Yes, correct.
So what I'm showing here is the cover of our book, Feng Shui Cures for Astrology. And sometimes people ask me, but you don't use astrology in your Feng Shui practice, and I don't. Some Feng Shui practitioners that do the compass school, they use astrology a lot in order to find the good directions, bad directions for people. And I don't do that because I think that is a fear-inducing practice to think about, like, I can't have, I can't be looking at the north because that's going to bring me bad luck. And I wanted to get away from that. And so part of what we did here is we did the Feng Shui cures for astrology for both our Western zodiac system and also for the Chinese animals horoscope. And what we had done is a series of images that we put our artwork together. My illustrations, I created these illustrations for all the animals and the signs in the way of cutout art in China, and Bill did the abstract images with the healing frequencies. So what we wanted to do is, instead of people looking at a sign and thinking, oh, I'm a Gemini, therefore I'm reliable, or I'm an Aries, therefore I'm prone to anger, or I'm a Leo, so everybody has to admire me. And that instead of doing that, they would look at an image and like when I bring up Sagittarius, like look at an image, and from looking at that image, set the intent for themselves to strengthen the good aspects of the sign and to minimize the bad aspects of the sign. And another thing that we talked about when we were working on this project, that's Scorpio, Capricorn, we talked about this a lot, that we choose our sign before we come into this lifetime. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, again, it's like an energetic thing. Is when we're conceived, we know that like the heavens will be in a certain place at one time, and we often will choose. Like I think I've read stories about babies that are born on the cusp, trying to be born in a certain sign. They won't come in until a certain astrological sign. But I was going to go back to a really core thing I have around healing, and especially around astrology, is I cannot tell you how many emails or how many times I talk to spiritual people and they talk about, oh, it's Mercury retrograde.
I know.
I'm going to bury myself under the covers and not come out.
Yeah, and actually in the Feng Shui Cures for the Planet, we included an image to help people clear fears of Mercury retrograde, right?
Yes, we did. But one of the core things about sovereignty and healing is not giving your power away to other people, circumstances, and events. And astrology is one of the huge things that people, millions of people, billions of people, give their power away to. And
and I think
you have to be really careful. You know, I'm a real believer. You are your own healer. You are your own guru. What I think my space is, you know, you're talking about the healing you experienced from the karma healing and amelioration. You know, I didn't do that healing. Your soul worked with the creator. I just sort of held a space where that healing could take place. So, everyone's responsible for their own healing. And, you know, even though I've gone to lots of courses in healing where you learn certain techniques, you know, I basically think that we're conduits for the creator to work through, and that we hold the space where healing can occur or not occur. But it's always up to the person. And in astrology, it's really important that the person take responsibility for your life and don't give it away. You can't say that, oh, it's a horrible day for my sign. Yes. You know, I could go out and have a horrible day because, you know, there are people literally who read the newspapers for their astrological sign to figure out whether they're going to have a good day or not. Yeah. And, you know, it's just absolutely insane.
It is really giving your power away. And we wanted to emphasize that it's not so much your sign influencing how you are or how you live, but it's more what clues can your sign give you about what you wanted to achieve in this lifetime.
Yeah, although I will say for the record that Cancers are by far and away the best sign. You know, other than that, you know.
Well, after Geminis, right? So one of the
Geminis are also too much.
When I was younger, you know, I know this was true for myself, that I would start all these projects because I had all these ideas and then leave them unfinished here and there. And so one thing that I have learned with maturity is to only start the projects that are true to my heart, and so that I can finish them. You know, so that has been one of the things. And so but the sign Gemini tells me that one of the things that I came to work on is being more reliable and being more dependable, because Geminis have such a bad reputation of not being reliable or dependable, right? And so that's one of the, in my sign, my Chinese sign?
People who wear their hearts on their sleeves. So, you know, I try to be as like non-cancer-like as I can. I hate moodiness in other people.
Can you repeat that, because we lost your voice there for a moment?
Well, you know, like I'll take an example of Cancers. A lot of Cancers are very emotional people, and we get emotionally wounded, and we tend to be moody, and I absolutely cannot stand moodiness. So, you know, even though I'm internally very moody, I still like to project the stability and calm. So
yeah, and so like some of our challenges, they come in the shape of a sign, and being a goat, you know, in the Chinese calendar, I'm a goat. What are you, Bill?
I'm Cancer. Oh,
no, in the Chinese
side, I can't remember what I am.
I think you're an ox, right?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. So, like for me, you know, being a goat, one of the positive things about goats are very creative. And people, you know, often say of me that I'm creative. But also goats like to be taken care of. And I have seen that tendency in myself, you know, to instead of working on being more assertive and getting things done on myself, you know, I noticed this tendency to for somebody to take care of me. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but if it comes with a sign, it may be one thing that you need to look at. And that's one thing that, you know, goats work in groups because of that characteristic, because they want to be supported and they want to be supportive too. You know, but there are some times in life when you cannot, when you have to stand up and lead instead of having somebody guide you. And so one of the challenges that I have experienced, especially since I decided to go completely online with my business, an online business model, is to establish myself as the expert, you know, recognizing that I am here to guide so many people, because it's
great one. Oh, great one, we worship thee.
Thank you for the worship. because that's the it's such a great responsibility, but at the same time, when you see so many sources on feng shui that are misleading people, that are making people afraid, or that are manipulative, and then I'm thinking, if I don't step up into these shoes of being a leader in the world of feng shui, then what are people gonna get? And as I say that, I feel a little arrogant.
Well, I mean, I think that our biggest responsibility is to be true to ourselves. And, and I just think that discernment is a really big thing. There's a wide variety of healing on this planet. And, I will say 99% of it doesn't resonate with me and doesn't work for me energetically. Mm-hmm. But I've learned lots and lots of lessons in discernment. And there's a wide variety of people on the planet. We all have different lessons. And things that may not work for you might work very well for other people. So, in a way, I would say all the feng shui people are prize serving. They might be bad examples. I certainly have learned from a lot of bad examples. They've been often huge spiritual teachers for me.
Yeah.
I tell everyone, I did all this healing work and learned all these modalities for 10 years. And then I spent 20 years clearing all the weird stuff that I got from my adventuresome personality and exploring everything. So I do find as you evolve and grow, I find increasingly I'm less and less drawn to other people and other things. And I've been, as you know, Moni, I've been doing my own thing for many, many years now. Yeah. I work with maybe 2 or 3 other people. That's it. When I began out, anyone would work. I was a real junkie. It's like a little kid in the candy store. And now I've learned I'm much more cautious about approaching the candy. It can look awfully pretty on the outside, but it may be really ugly on the inside.
And that was really me too, when I was younger, I had no discernment. Like if I met healers and light workers and they're like, let's exchange Reiki sessions, I'm a massage therapist, let me massage you. And I really exposed myself to a lot of people that may have had good intentions, but their energy wasn't clear. And I have become a lot more choosy and picky of who I work with and who I let work on me. And one of the things that I appreciate about you is that you always stay ahead, that you're always working on clearing yourself, and you're always looking at challenges, and you never justify yourself. Like I have seen over the years that if you find in yourself something that needs to be cleared, you work on clearing it and not on justifying why you're feeling a particular way. So I've always appreciated that.
Well, to me, it's just self-survival because I used to be terribly unclear on many things, and it was delightful in a lot of ways. It's like, I used to be like one of the most unclear souls in the world, and it never bothered me. But I find as I get clearer and clearer that just a little bit, a smidgen of unclarity just absolutely drives me nuts. So, in a lot of ways, I'm inspired to be clear because I feel awful when I'm not clear.
Because the alternative hurts, right? And
so the alternative, yes. And of course, one of my other big lessons is saving and rescuing other people. I used to love to save and rescue people, and I used to think, I have all these healing gifts, I'll just help this person out. And, it's one of the reasons why I'm so big now about asking permission and healing. And, I never send out energy to people unless they give me permission to work with them.
Yeah.
And I'm really a stickler for that because, in a way, it's a form of saving and rescuing other people. And one of the things that appalls me in the spiritual and healing communities is people think, we can just send you energy, without even really asking the person where he wants the energy. So,
and I know you have shared with me that some time ago, like you weren't sure why sometimes you felt like icky. And it was that people were trying to send you healing or clearing energies, trying to help you with your work, with really good intentions, without your consent, without your knowledge, and then sometimes their energy was not that clear.
Well, and it's just really challenging to be clear. I've worked on myself daily for 20 or 30 years, and last week I took on something from a client I was working with who's been doing healing work even longer than I have.
Yeah.
And it's not that person is a bad person. It's just they just did a guru hook or a cord and hooked into my energy, and it took me a while to figure it out. And then once I figured it out, I cleared it, and life goes on. But I try to be as impeccable as possible, but sometimes like once or twice a year, I get really sucked in. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's true. Everything is energy, and we're always constantly sending and radiating energy, and you know, but it's just really important to be as discerning as you can. And I always go with it and ask if it's aligned with my highest good.
Yeah.
On all the audios, all the work I do, I always set the intent that everything that happens is aligned with the highest good of all, supports spiritual evolution of each being 100%, and can be integrated with ease and grace in the now. And that saves a lot of weird energies from coming in or out.
Yeah. I wanted to share here the website. I mean,
Oh, the YouTube
your
website.
YouTube channel. So people can see most of these recordings are clearing sessions that people can get for free. So now there's a lot of resources out there. And as I had said before, on Bill's blog, healwithbill.com, you can join to get those healings. And they're fantastic. I'm a big fan of those. And
Well, and if you look on the blog thing, if you click on the link to the blog on that, and there's like a section I put on the blog of MP3 activations that has a lot of the most recent stuff as audio activations.
And
too.
where is that? Like at the bottom?
No, it's at the top. It's in the blog section.
Oh, in the blog section. So let me see if I can bring
at the top nav bar. If you click on it, you'll see a whole bunch, and you see MP3
audio activations.
Most of the recent stuff I've done is MP3. So that's a list of like 10 of the most recent MP3s I've done. I do a lot more MP3s now.
Free clearing that people can get, right? So it's fantastic. It's a fantastic contribution that you have made to helping people heal and
these
clear.
are new stuff too, Moni. These are fairly new compared to the YouTube things, which is a little bit older energy for me.
Okay, all right. So there's all these resources. And I wanted to share the most important work that you and I have done together, I think, is the Angelic Feng Shui training. And so the website is angelicfengshuitraining.com. And what we did is we put together a healing and clearing program, a distance healing and clearing program that comes with an attunement. Just like people get attuned for Reiki, this comes with an attunement, so people embody within themselves the energies of Angelic Feng Shui. And it also comes with MP3 recordings that you can use to clear a space that has not good feng shui, or that has stagnant energy, or where something bad may have happened. And it also comes with a manual that you can use. And we also have products that you can get on our Cafe Press store. If you go to the link that says Feng Shui Cures, we also have some products that you can get with the healing energies of Angelic Feng Shui training. And one of the things, it took us about 6 months to get the energy right for this. Bill has a background as a lawyer, and when he creates healing and clearing packages, that they sound a little bit like contracts, in that they are very clear. They do. They do, like they're spiritual contracts, and a lot of us, what we're dealing is whether we're fulfilling or not our spiritual contracts. And so I like that when you download a clearing or healing package from Spirit, it is very precise, and it's very clear, and it's very specific. And you also put in protection, so that even if there was something off with you or with me, the healing package is protected and clear and impeccable in its energies. And so it took us 6 months to get the list of things that we wanted to include in Angelic Feng Shui ready, but I think it was worth it, because we have the feedback that we get from people who have gotten this is just amazing. So with Angelic Feng Shui training, it comes with an attunement, and the price is $333, and it includes the MP3 recordings, 2 MP3 recordings. Bill created a short 12-minute compressed clearing so that you can do fast clearings, and this is really important, for example, for realtors, and so that they can clear their listings before they show them. And the amazing thing is that it works even if you just print out the listing and put your phone or your MP3 player on top of the listing and play the recording. You don't actually have to physically go into the space. And we also created a bigger one, a longer one, that's 33 minutes recording for Angelic Feng Shui, which is at the same time you can use it for meditating, because it comes with alpha waves kind of music. And so we get tremendous feedback, fantastic feedback from the people who are using these recordings. I had a client who had some really nasty energy in her home because the people who owned the house before her, they had somebody commit suicide in one of the basement, the guest bedroom in the basement. And after she told me, after she played the recording just one time, the ickiness, the bad energies from the home left forever, from just one time. So that's amazing that a clearing recording could do that. But we use them for all sorts of things, and I hope I don't sound like a bad mother with this. But my kids are 13 and 10 years old right now, and sometimes when I let them watch something that would be scary for them, like it's not really PG for them, um, I play the recordings in the background, sometimes with very little volume or with no volume. And the kids, they don't get scared because as any fears that may be arising from what they're watching come up to the surface, they get cleared automatically. So sometimes the children were watching, we start watching a movie, and then they pause it and they tell me, I think we need an Angelic Feng Shui recording for this. But I also use them, I homeschool them, and whenever we're studying history or geography, we have to play the Angelic Feng Shui recordings in the background because there's so many terrible, horrible things in our history that could impact them negatively. And so, what would you like to add about the training, Bill?
Well, I think the real benefit, a huge audience that would benefit from this, is anyone that does spiritual work from their home. If you're a healer, or you do fun sessions, or you do massage work, or anyone that works with clients in the home. Like years and years ago, when I got my first training in energy healing work, I was living in Denver, in an apartment building in Denver, and it was summer, and every time I meditated, I had to do the healing outside, and I meditated several times. Why do I have to do this healing outside? Can't I do it inside? I just got to know. And so, I was doing all the healing work outside, and it wasn't a big imposition. I was just like a half block from the Capitol building and the nice garden lawn or whatever. It was really nice in the summer, but then it got winter, and then got colder and colder and snowier and snowier, and I didn't want to do my healing work outside. And so I meditated as to what was going on, and I got this really weird energy in the building. I was in the apartment building and in the apartment. And I cleared it. I asked the Creator to clear it and Archangel Michael to clear it. And, I thought all this stuff, icky stuff, clear away. And I started creating a little bubble around my apartment. And that's always the way I did Feng Shui, to be honest, is I never really studied Feng Shui formally, really, until I worked with you. I mean, I looked at the books and the cures and stuff in the store, but I never did anything seriously with it because I just would create a little energetic bubble in every space I lived in my office at work.
Yes.
And, but, like as soon as it cleared, then I could work on clients. It was safe to work on clients. And I really think that if your home isn't clear and you're working with clients, I think it's a back door that weird energies can get into the session. So,
yeah. My husband is a chiropractor, and he works from home. We converted our garage to be his office, and so he sees a lot of people are coming that are worried about their health, that are in pain, and so constantly playing, every day, playing every day if possible. Those recordings helps keep the energy clear, and so it has been really, really valuable. And also sometimes if I have had an encounter with a person that was not pleasant, I know that by playing those recordings it clears. And I attuned my children to Angelic Feng Shui. And by the way, when people get an Angelic Feng Shui attunement, when they get the training, they can choose whether to be attuned directly by either of us or to be attuned by the attunement in a video that Bill created. And so I attune my children, and sometimes when we go to play dates and things like that, when they're going to be interacting with children that may not be maybe in bad situations at home, and so they have anger or rage or are dealing with issues. My children, they put bubbles of Angelic Feng Shui around them so they're not impacted negatively by these things. And we use Angelic Feng Shui every single day, the kids and I. And so it's really, I think it's an amazing tool for families. I think realtors, people who travel a lot and they have to go like from hotel room to clear their room before they go to sleep, and also for healers, as we had said before,
Well, and I build it into all my, like, I have a lot of daily healing support programs and stuff, and I build Angelic Feng Shui into all the
Yes.
healing support programs. And I've ran a really gifted healer friend that does very similar work, and she has healing programs too. And she actually does Angelic Feng Shui as part of her daily clearings for her
Yes.
clients as well. So, and she's one of the most impeccable healers I know on the planet. So I think that says a lot about the modality. If we both consider it safe to use, it's probably really good stuff. So
It is. And so, one thing that we want to offer from this meeting for people who are watching is we want to offer a discount on the Angelic Feng Shui training, which is $333. So we're going to offer a 10% discount, and we're going to add 2 perks. And those perks are going to be that people can get a custom session with you, right? And so
a customized, create your own distant healing session.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so how this works is that people send you an email with whatever's going on with them, and then you'll write them back, maybe ask for more information or clarification, and then you will suggest what type of a clearing they need. So for some people, it might be that they get their karma amelioration. For some people, it may be something else. The second perk is that you can get an I Ching reading with me, and so that's what we're offering. We're offering 10% discount on the Angelic Feng Shui training, which includes the attunement, the MP3 recordings, and the manual. And we're also offering a custom session with Bill, and an I Ching reading with me. Would you like to share anything else today, Bill?
No, I think that concludes things. If you do receive the distant healing requests, it's like I said, just I guess we'll send you my email address, or you can go to the site and just hit on the contact me button and submit it. But
yes.
Basically, when I get these requests for customized healing, I look them over, I scan them, and then I just ask, is it complete or not complete? Because I find a lot of times that people need to sit with them a couple of days before they capture all the things. And I think, Moni, you actually set the intent the night before you go to sleep for more insights or whatever.
Yeah, I do that. I do that. Whenever you tell me that you feel that something is not complete, I'll set the intent to receive information in dreams. And what usually happens is that as soon as I wake up, I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. Sometimes people send me stuff that feels energetically complete, and obviously that's karmic amelioration. I just need to know the names of the people, and maybe a little bit about what relationship they are to you. And I don't need to know huge amounts of detail.
Yes, yeah.
I prefer not to know huge amounts of detail, because then it might give a leak for my mental body and personality self to get into. But I just scan those requests if it feels complete to me energetically. I just do the work, and if it doesn't, then I'll just email you and say, it doesn't feel complete. Is there anything else that you can think of to add? So.
And I think we didn't mention before that everything that you do comes with ease and grace. That people resolve these issues with ease and grace, not with a healing crisis. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to have a purchase button where people can get the Angelic Feng Shui training and everything, and with a discount. And I'm also going to include on that page our email addresses so that people can contact us by clicking on those. Yes. So it's been great having this conversation with you. You know how much I appreciate you as a friend, and I'm really happy for this opportunity to share you with my audience.
I enjoyed the opportunity, Moni. It's always cool to share, and I always get really great insights when we're doing this. So I hope it's of benefit to the people that are listening to it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.